Hey y'all. Originally, I was going to film this, and at the last minute, I decided to just go live. I know if I record it, I'll want to edit. So let me see if I can get this. Oops, sorry guys. Get the right camera angle. Now, there were some deer that ran right back there. So I'm hoping that that'll be cool. There we go. My visuals. Okay, let's try this again. I don't want to be too close. Um, if you want to ask questions at the end, please put comment in caps and question in caps because I'm just going to talk, and then at the end I'm going to go through any questions you might have. Um, right now I'm just so originally I tried to find a quiet place. So I'm in Salado, Texas, which is on the way to Austin. It's a kind of a touristy town. It's galleries and antique stores, and it's beautiful. When I first started coming here, it was affordable. There weren't the galleries, and it was just a lot of antiques. So I hadn't come on a Friday in a long time. I was going to go down by the creek. Last time I was here, it was dead because it was the beginning of the week. Well, it was packed with families swimming and wading and everything. So then I'm like, well, let me find a nice quiet spot. This looked like a nice quiet spot. I didn't know there was a park right over there. There's somebody mowing over there, and somebody over here is using like a table saw or something because there's houses across from me and then this big field. So I'm just like, can't wait. Every time I try to do something off book that I didn't plan well in advance, it always goes to hell pretty much. So, so I see some people. I'll look at questions and comments at the end. I'm just going to talk because, like I said, originally I was going to film this and just put it out. But um, I just didn't want to do that. Okay, how and why I became an activist at 55. It was just a couple months before I turned 55. So let's start about, um, oh my goodness, Pup Groomer, already. She gifted 5 membership. So anybody that's in the chat probably got memberships. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Pup. Appreciate that. So a lot of my people that know me on SPTV or have been regulars on my channel kind of already know my story. But I haven't told any friends or family. It didn't dawn on me at first because I'm not on Facebook. I don't know anything that's going on. I might look at Facebook every 3 months and maybe go back about 10 posts. I'll be like, "Oh my god, somebody had a baby like 6 months ago." I don't know anything because I'm just not on it. Oh, Sunday, thank you so much for your generous contribution. I didn't put it on this one because I didn't go to Austin. But the next 3 live streams, Sunday was the sponsor of those videos to help me with gas and parking. I appreciate that. Um, Pretty much the weather. It's a little overcast. I think we'll be okay. What time is it? Okay, let's get into this. So I'm going to mention my health issues only because it's part of the story. It's not ever to complain because I believe everything happens for a reason. And this happened for a reason because if I had not been bedridden, I would not have had the time to deep dive since 2022 about the Scientology. So the end of 2022, so about the last 5 years before this past November, I was bedridden. I had fallen and injured 4 of my disc plus 1 I already had. And literally even sitting up was excruciatingly painful. So I was in bed 24/7. Um so the end of 2022, a channel popped up on my feed called Growing Up in Scientology. The person that runs that channel is Aaron Smith Levin. And he was taught, I didn't know anything about Scientology except Tom Cruise was part of it. That was it. That's all I knew. I'm like a lot of you that know nothing. So I decided he was still just posting videos then. He wasn't doing a lot of live streams yet. So I decided he'd been on for about 5 or 6 years at that point, and I couldn't do all of his videos. So I just went back a year and I binge watched all of his videos for a year. And I was flabbergasted and appalled at what I found out about how abusive Scientology is to children, to its members, to the elderly that can't be their slave labor anymore. And I'll go more into that later. So then January 2023 comes and he decides, he said, look, I hate editing. I'm just going to start going live 2 or 3 times a day. And back then he did about 15, 20-minute videos. And I watched, and as soon as they came on, I was on there. And then he started, he started having people on. He started doing, I watched them learn how to multi-stream on each other's channels with some other, what I call survivors. Other people call them second, third gens, or some of them are just escapees. They're first generation and they got out when they were after 30, 40 years, some of them. And they're telling their story on YouTube, and that's real new too. So then I saw one day in the chat, somebody said, okay, so an SP, which is part of my name too, of my channel, is a suppressive person in Scientology. It means you are a enemy of the church. So somebody said, oh, this should be called SPTV, and it blew up. And I knew it was going to blow up. I even bought a domain name that I don't have anymore. I thought it was going to auto renew and it didn't. I can go back and get it again, but other people have taken over, possibly making a sort of website. Because I just wanted a website where people could talk about upcoming events and live streams and interviews and get links to channels. Well, some people are already doing that. So I watched other ex-members, survivors of this cult tell their stories. I've never watched the Going Clear documentary. I've never watched Leah Remini and the Aftermath show. There was 3 seasons that told their stories on TV. I'll provide a free link to go watch it because you have to pay for it. And I pretty much, became everything I did and watched and was involved in, and I was in the chats and talking, and I watched this SPTV blow up. And Aaron Smith Levin and others, I know there were other people that have done some activism and wrote books, and they've done TV shows, and they had channels already, but I watched Aaron really push people to start a YouTube channel. He said in 2023, in January, he said he wanted to make Scientology rue the day that he had a YouTube channel. So there were a bunch of ex-members who had channels, but he said, even if you only have one story, one video on your channel, if you search Scientology, I want all of this to come up and not their propaganda. Okay. So then, sometime in 2023, William Good, who is a cop watcher in Hollywood, when he lives in that area, and he noticed that people were being pulled over and they were doing illegal things to people. So he goes up, and he was like a First Amendment auditor. Well, one day, I'm actually telling the story of SPTV, and then I'll talk about my involvement. So he was watching some cops one day, and some Scientology security in Hollywood. They have like a whole city block of buildings in Hollywood. That's their biggest one of their biggest bases, and their biggest, what they call body routing center, where they get people on Hollywood Boulevard to come in their doors. That's how they try to get new members. Well, they gave him a hard time. He was on a public sidewalk. They had no reason to, but that's the way Scientology is. And if you ever get involved and watch any of these videos, you'll understand why. Well, that was the day Scientology messed up, because he started watching them and he started standing outside their test center on Hollywood Boulevard just filming. And they don't like that. They don't like attention like that. Then around November, some TikTokers and other Facebook, some young people just started showing up because they had followed him before, and they started joining him. And if you go look at any of those channels, Confident Chris, Jessica Palmadessa, Streets LA, I'll put some more in the description later. Then they started getting a crowd and they started having a good time, and they didn't carry signs. They didn't yell propaganda at them or anything like that. They were First Amendment auditors. It wasn't really a protest yet. But it's hard to call yourself First Amendment auditor when you're standing out there with a sign. So that's more of a protest. So that came later. Well, I was watching that, and I watched them close that center down. They started they called I'll get into that in another video, but they like to use the LAPD against the streamers, and they called like 24 false calls in 2 months because they're liars and they don't want people standing on a public sidewalk in front of their test center. There's a lot more where that comes from. I'm not going to get into all that here. This is about my story. So I was watching them, and then in about I'm not sure when I heard, but around January, I heard that they were finally going to open their building in Austin, Texas, across from the University of Texas campus. Now, L. Ron Hubbard bought this building 55 years ago. I don't know if they ever occupied it before, but it's been empty for a very long time. And the members have given millions to remodel it. And so he finally had to open it. And it was going to open in February. And I'm like, originally my channel was called Scientology Won't Win. Then Scientology Won't Win in Texas, because my focus was I didn't want them to get their claws in our young people. People that are away from home and lonely and walking by, going to class. So I started going the week before they opened in February. And I thought all I would do is show up and hold a sign. There was already somebody there that was live streaming Pearl Snappy. And I even told her, I contacted her, I said, I'll just come and hold your camera. Well, she had a tripod already, so she didn't need that. So the first few days, that's what I did. I held a sign when I was there by myself. And if I was there with Pearl Snappy, I filmed her and I put clips of that on my channel. And it was like, just maybe they opened on Saturday, and I think on Friday, I was standing there, and because we had signs and stuff, people were stopping and talking to us. And I deep dive, so I know a lot of facts. And when people want to know, my sign says, Scientology is a cult, ask me why. And the answer to that is, a religion lets you leave. A cult doesn't. I'll get into that later too. It may be separate videos. We'll see how this goes or how long this goes. So that's how I got involved in SPTV. That's how I got involved with protesting Scientology in Austin. And I thought back then, all I would do is show up. I wanted to come every day that first week just to let them know they weren't welcome. I had no idea what to expect after that. So that Saturday, I think it was the 24th, but I don't know for sure. Yeah. Approximately. Anyway, it's on my channel. You can go find that stuff. Anyway, these college boys, first I needed 50 subscribers to go live. I didn't know that. So Aaron, I think I did a super chat, I'm not sure. He put my channel out, and I got the 59 subscribers. Then I lost like 3 because I wasn't doing anything like live. And so I was worried. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about YouTube. I didn't know anything about going live. I am not tech savvy at all. I know how to turn a computer off and on when there's a problem. That's it. So, I mean, I had no vision at all of what I was going to do with this. I wanted to go live for the opening. After that, I had no plans. So, um, the day before the opening, I believe these college guys we were talking, and I mentioned something about it, and he literally showed me how to go live right then and there. And you'll see that my first live, and you'll see, oh, awesome, I'm talking to them, and that was pretty cool. And I'm like, oh, I never thought in a million years I'd be live streaming on YouTube, you know. Um, Another reason I have this kind of time is 2 years ago, um, my daughter and my grandkids, who for a long time lived point 0.6 of a mile away from me. I saw them almost every day. I babysat them because she was a single mom a lot of that time. So I was very busy in their lives, and they moved away. So I pretty much, it's just me and Tom. Tom's asleep during the day. He works at night. So I'm on my own. So I went to the opening, and I was amazed at the amount of people that came out. Amazed. About that time, there was only about 50 channels. I don't know if that was protesters and ex-members, survivors, or if that was just protest channels. I don't remember. Um, so then I was like, I kept going. So I decided after that I was going to try to go down 3 times a week. And all I did before that is I ordered a cheap, it was supposed to be a gimbal that just kept your phone even this way. It was like $26. And it was like a selfie stick. Well, I have the flip phone, and it didn't work because it was off center. So it was just selfie stick. All I had was a selfie stick and a backpack I literally ran to Walmart and grabbed on my way down one day to put my stuff in. So that's all I had. And the only ideas I had was from Pearl Snappy. I saw that she had a hat. I'm like, it's Texas. Smart. Hat. Surprised I don't have my hat. I forgot it. I wear my Buckeye hat. And then I saw her with the tripod. Eventually, really not long later, I bought a tripod because I shake and, everything. And so I was going down alone because I have to go midday because my husband needs the vehicle back to go to work. And then Pearl Snappy usually comes later in the day. We don't have a big group like LA does. LA has a huge group. Huge, huge, huge group now. And so that was my only goal at that point. I never thought about things like monetization or memberships or, I didn't even know about that stuff. I didn't understand it. And the only people I saw with that stuff were really big channels like, Aaron's channel's like over 200,000, almost 300,000 now, which I watched that grow too. We had one of the LA protesters come to the opening. He traveled. I think he had just been arrested on a false charge. And like I said, I'm going to do that as a separate video. That's a whole story of itself on Scientology weaponizing police departments and fire departments against protesters, which it's not working. We've got a couple people that just had trials they've tried to get them on a lot of stuff. And they did swat me one day. They call it swatting. All right. So I'm like, I got my selfie stick. I got my backpack. I bought this on Temu to hold my water bottle that I already had. So that came in handy. And then I happened to be there late one day, and I saw Pearl Snappy, and she had a wagon. And I was like, this was, weeks later. So I started going down 3 times a week. And forgot the how. Okay, I forgot all about this part. I was bedridden. This is why I should have probably wrote something down. I didn't explain how I was able to go 3 times a week because I was bedridden. How did I do that? In November, my doctor finally said, I think the pain stimulator implant would do you some good. And I was worried about it because when I got fibromyalgia, which messes with your central nervous system, my TENS unit that used to work great it felt like it was electrocuting me. So electricity doesn't work right in my body. And I was kind of scared. But they do they do a trial version for like 3 days. They put it in and it worked. So I'm like, okay, let's do the real thing. And by January, I was healed. And so after being sick since 2010 and homebound, being bedridden for 5 years, now I'm going to Austin 3 times a week and standing for a couple hours and live streaming. And when I first started, when I had 7 or 8 people, and still, I think that's awesome. I have 5 people right now. At least that's what it says. I've noticed sometimes that's not right. One day it told me 0 and I had people in the chat. So I just kept going. I didn't know where it was going to go. I just knew that I wanted to make sure that no new members went into that test center in Austin, and that I could give the message to people inside that they could get out. And there's 2 foundations that help them escape, help them get apartments, jobs, a GED, because if they've been indoctrinated since a child and then they're pulled out of middle school and put in as slave labor, they don't have an education. They help them get jobs and cars, everything. They help them with everything. They're helping members that have already been out. They're helping one of them get some treatment, special treatment, and they're helping them with therapy. And somebody else, they gave a grant for education. And so there's a whole community out here now for Scientologists who want to escape. Now, so since then, we've had channels pop up in Denver, Chicago, Portland, Kansas City, Ohio, where a lot of my family are from around there. I know I'll forget some. Boston, Portland, but all the cities around LA, because they have a lot of bases down there. Canada, Paris, England, Australia, Austin, of course. I think some people started in Dallas, which I'm going to try to join them. We've had people travel around to go to different protests. People doing like van life and just going to all the different protests and joining people. I can't explain how wonderful this community is. And I wish somebody would do a story on this, because I don't think there's ever been a conglomeration of YouTube channels all working towards the exact same goal. And, everybody's anti-Scientology. Everybody is protesting. Everybody is putting stories out about, how to end Scientology. How the stories and the atrocities that go on inside. And then people what we call never ends, like me, who was never in Scientology. And there's so many of the protest channels are like that. They're like people like me. And so I'm still going after 6 months. And to my friends and family, that's what I've been doing. It's something that really is a passion of mine because of the child abuse. That's what brought me first. And what it is, I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to do different videos later on different subjects coming up. So what it is in a nutshell, like I said, I'll tell their belief system and all that later. This is more just why I'm doing what I'm doing. They believe their children have lived multiple lives because they're beings from another galaxy that jump from body to body. That's the basic. So they believe that they were an 80-year-old man in their last body or their last life. So they don't treat them like children. And because of that, there is much SA of children, abuse of children. They're not nurtured as children. Some of these ex-members were put to work doing freaking construction at 8, 9, 10 years old. I can go more into that, but I'm going to wait for another video for that. Or I might go, maybe I'll go into it now. I'm not sure what the structure is of these videos that I want to do. For people that aren't friends and family that don't know me, I'll go into that for a few minutes. So to understand maybe why the child abuse was the catalyst for me. So I had someone in my family that I know who was attacked as a small child by a stranger. So there's that. Then I've been an Army wife. My husband was active duty military for 21 years. We met each other in high school in Navy ROTC. We both went in the Army Reserves, and we dated for not quite 2 years in high school, and then I graduated, and we were off and on between 18 and 20. And then we got married at 20 after 2 years, he went active duty in the Army. And I followed him to his duty station after we got married, and that has been my life. And when he got stationed at the base Fort Hood in Texas. It's now called Fort Cavazos. They renamed it, for 17 years, which is unusual. And then he retired in 2010, and we stayed because we already had our house and our daughter was still in high school, and we're still here because he went in after retirement and after some college and a stint overseas. He's been in security pretty much since he retired. So during that time, being an Army wife, I pretty much did what I could because we were separated in 21 years. We were separated over almost 11, and that just counts overseas and out of state. About 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those were over a year. And then, of course, the 8 months in the initial waiting on government housing after we got married because you couldn't afford to live in California. So I did different jobs, what I could do, but my kids were young and I couldn't afford daycare on minimum wage. So I opened a home daycare for about 8 years. So, and then during that time, I started a Girl Scout troop. I was a Girl Scout leader for my daughter's troop. Me and one of my daycare moms, we did it together because everybody wanted to meet like earlier than 6, and she worked, and I worked till 6, till everybody was picked up. So then I was a Girl Scout leader for many years, and then my son was in Boy Scouts, and we were involved in that. And so everything I did for a long, long time was revolved around kids. I wanted to be a school teacher. And so instead I ran my daycare like a daycare center or like a class. I went to the teacher. I didn't make any money doing it. I really didn't. When I go back and look, I spent so much money at the teacher store. I had a lesson plan. I had my whole living room. I had 2 bulletin boards. It didn't look like a living room at all. My poor family, what they went through for those years. And I literally started it a month after we got our new house. So, just everything I had done and what's near and dear to my heart is kids. And I didn't see that coming really either, when you're young. I thought I was going to go into psychology or something weird like that. And then, after I got ill and then my kids started having kids, then my grandkids were my life, and I literally did the same thing with them. I had them all day, even though I was sick. I still made it happen. There were years when they got a little bit older, um, where we sat on the bed and just played cards or colored and stuff like that, because that's all I could do with them. But they were in school by then, so it was just after school. So that is my story to this point. I'm gonna go through comments now. I know I can see that the chat's been going. So, all right. So Groomer gave 5 memberships at the beginning. Oh, that's so Sunday got a membership. I didn't plan this ahead of time, Diana. I was gonna film this at home. And then at the last minute, I'm like, you know what? Let me just go find a quiet place in Salado because I was in the area for something else. Um, I don't know what you're hearing, but all I'm hearing is banging over here. And there were 2 deer standing right here when I showed up. It's a really nice little wooded, it goes way down, and there's that. And then down here, it goes way down. They went down in there. They're probably still there. Because deer in this part of Texas are so used to people. All right. Hey, Psych. Nice to see you. No Face. Hi. Okay. They talk. Oh, yeah. No Face. Yeah. I'm going to get into that more in detail in another video about how the protesting started and what's been going on with that. I'm going to do a separate video on that. This was just supposed to be my story and how I got into it. So yeah, the other reason William Good is still doing it is the security guards. They're trained to be as nasty as possible, and that's the thing about Scientology is even in Scientology, if you're kind or nice, you get it called a derogatory term. I'm gonna go into that way, but anyway, William Good's son had died. He was there was a shootout that he was not a part of, and he happened to be wrong place, wrong time. And they said if you were a better father, he'd still be alive. Everything they do has just made the protesters more determined, and I'm gonna go into that in a separate video. But yes, yep. Diana said she was watching SPTV blow up too. We call him AA Ron because he starts his intro with the AA Rons. But hi, Dusty. Thank you so much. Thank you guys. I'm just getting really nice comments from everyone. I appreciate that. Sorry, I still got to get new glasses so you don't have to look up my nose. Back when I started my channel in March, there was like 64-ish channels, and then I couldn't keep count after that. I've heard there's over 200 now with the protesters and the second gens or survivors creating channels. It's amazing. There is so much content. So if you want to watch other channels, you go to sptv.space, and there's a whole list of the channels, and at the top, it will show you who is live right then. And that is an awesome resource. And then there's resources for us protesters that people have created, like Pup Groomer and Fluffer Squirrel and some other people. And she's in the UK, and everybody's working together, but it's many people have never met. And what I was going to say was, I wanted to get into is why I'm still here. And why I'm still here is not only the passion I have to try to end Scientology as a religion and get their tax exempt status taken away, because that's what protects them from investigation for all these atrocities that they're doing. Oh, that's my train of thought. Oh, there's resources that people have created for protesters and stuff, signs and flyers and cards and all kinds of stuff that we can give out and use. Oh, the why I'm part of this community is because it is a loving, wonderful community. Yes, in every large group of people, there will be issues. There will be drama here and drama there. I don't even know if I want to call it drama. But, personalities are going to clash. And it's going to happen. That's just the nature of things in a large group. But most of us have decided that as long as those people are still working towards ending Scientology, I'm going to support them. I'm going to try to get along with them. I don't want to get involved in drama. I hate drama. I stopped having friends in my 20s because this girl in my life was so much drama and upended my life and my family's life so much that I swore off friends after that. She was psycho. And it was somebody you couldn't get rid of, because if you told them, get out of my life, they would slash your tires and set your house on fire kind of person. But she finally left town. She was an army wife. And I've always lived off post since we got here. I've never had anything to do with the family, group things. I just didn't want anything to do with any of it. I'm a very independent person. I could handle it when Tom was gone. If I had a problem, I knew who to contact. So the community, though, the supporters, the people that are in my chat right now, the people that just gave memberships or have given me donations for gas, or just give us watch hours, because us small channels, we needed that. And to be here, just to be here and be a supporter, to watch, you have to have compassion and a heart. Because why else would you be here? Why else would you be supporting these channels? Why else would you watch our channels? And trolls and people that aren't here for a good reason don't stay long. And that's why I'm still here, why I'm still supporting other channels, why I still want to be involved with other channels and be involved with people in my chat. Because, and I call them supporters, I don't call them followers. I wanted to call them something like Miss Kim's Army, but it's not my army. It's the army, SPTV army, because they're doing so much behind the scenes. We have people, our keyboard warriors, going in and getting information and getting names of their front groups and going and sending stuff to IRS and sending stuff to the DOJ and going to city council meetings to let them know about the atrocities going on behind Scientology's doors. And it's amazing. We have so many people from different walks of life. That is amazing. And we all are doing the same thing for the same reasons, regardless of politics, regardless of gender, whatever outside of this. We don't care. Don't care. As long as we're doing the work. I'm going to go through some more chats. That's okay. Yeah, around February when I started, they told me there was about 50 on, at least on the list, And I don't know if that was just protesters, which I thought, or if it's hard to count. But now that we have a running list, it's a little bit easier. I want to hire a magician and a clown to entertain the Austin Scientologist. That would be funny. Oh, thanks, guys. Oh, that's when you're going to LA, Dusty? Awesome. See, we have people. He's from Clearwater, where there's another. They've taken over Clearwater. That'll be another video. I can't go into that right now. But they've taken over Clearwater and made it a ghost town just because they don't want people near their buildings. And they have so much money. They have bought so much real estate. It's ridiculous. I'm going to go into that on a different video. Hi, Golden Era. Thank you. Golden Era was even helping my daughter find an apartment in the area that she lives, 'cause she lives near there. That was awesome. So the people you meet is so awesome on here. Oh, I'm glad you can't hear the banging. Actually, he quit. But I sit down and there was somebody mowing back there and there was somebody over here running a chainsaw, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to go on. I pre-scheduled it a few minutes. AA. Yeah, AA is a ex-member, right? Yeah, I remember seeing the elderly people on the bus. They look sad. Yep. I'm going to go into that on some other videos. I appreciate the support, you guys. Thank you. I'm seeing all the great comments. AA said, I saw an elderly woman who was skin and bone and expected to help clean 3 levels of floors in the Hacienda Hotel, which they own hotels that they charge members to stay in for services. In the Hacienda Hotel, her supervisor berated her so badly you could see that she wasn't even there anymore. Hmm. That's what they do. They mind control people, and everyone that's gotten out is getting some form of therapy. It's just needed. Golden era. Well, probably because golden era. Probably because David Miscavige isn't at the Golden Base anymore. But they probably get a little bit more freedom there too. Um, that's awesome. That they're actually very kind. That's good. And that's the thing. That's why I don't get what's the word I want? I use it all the time. I hate this fibro brain. I have a Swiss cheese memory. Um, that's why I don't say mean things to the people inside because they're victims too. And so I usually just yell things to them like the SPTV Foundation.org, give them a call to help you get out, things like that. And Tom is creating me this new great big sign that he hasn't worked on in a while. It should have been done months ago. But the guy's only got 1 day a week to do anything. He's working on the house. Um, yeah. The thing is, there are a lot of people who they've gotten out. They're kind, they're funny, they have really great personalities, and they're out now and able to use them too. So Marco is from England, correct? So I have supporters from everywhere. It's just so awesome. Um, that's fine. Um, yeah, things are not the same at every base. There's probably more. We've heard there's more abuse in some places than others. Depends on who's in charge too. Um, thanks, you guys. Thanks for all the great. Oh, I'm caught up. Almost correct. What did I get wrong? Wales? Was it Wales? If I'd have said UK, I probably would have been more right. Or no, I forgot. Germany. How did I forget that? Sorry. I can blame my fibro Swiss cheese brain. I'm terrible at numbers. I'm terrible at names, but if I deep dive on something, I can remember those facts really well. Just depends. Different days, different issues. I did post this on my Facebook. But it's the middle of the day for most people and they're at work. So I'm hoping that my friends and family will watch and know what I'm doing and maybe start watching and supporting. You never know. Maybe I'll get another protester out of them. There's the Columbus org. A lot of them are close to that. Some of them might be closer to the Cincinnati org, or you never know. And we've got them from everywhere too. We've got people from all the other states. My husband's family is really, really big. I think he's got people, used to have people in Arizona. I think they moved Florida, Virginia, Ohio. I can't think of them all. It's hard for me to keep up. I'm sure there's someone here from the Ukraine, I think. Oh yeah, I've had somebody. Oh, Diana. If you haven't already, I haven't checked my email. Email me, and we'll talk about that. Well, we're here to support you and what you're doing, just like you support me. So all I can do, we have all walks of life, but I can pray. I try to pray for anybody that tells me they're having struggles, because that's hard. It is hard. Um, so how long have I been on here? 44. I'll go an hour and so like I said, I'm gonna start doing a series of videos. I want to keep them around 10 minutes. Um, not only a lot of the things that I say when I'm on the street, I'm gonna make these videos at home. I just got a light in the mail today. I haven't even opened it yet. And I got a new table to put my computer on. I don't care that much about how great it looks because I don't care about that on other channels. What's important with SPTV and the channels that are out there isn't we don't care about polished and great videos. It's about content. It's about what that person has to say. No, but I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, this looks like crap. I'm leaving." Nobody cares. So if initially I was embarrassed and shy, and I'm not a shy person, but at first I didn't want to be on camera, you know, and things. And then I'm like, I don't care. I just want to get the word out. So I've had a lot of supporters along the way that are in my chat today. And that has helped anytime I get, kudos or, it really, really, really does help. And it really does make a difference. Because there are days, it's an hour and a half drive. And there are days that I'm like, trying to get out of the house can be hard. And I'm still, working on my health and all that. And then that's why for a long time I was um, planning my live streams ahead of time. Because if I did, that's the way I am. If I promise something, I'll do it. On my 30th birthday, I jumped out of an airplane and I didn't do tandem. I did what they call a accelerated free fall. And what that is you take 5 hours of classes. And then when you're getting out of the plane, you have your own chute and you have two instructors. And I paid for the cameraman. And I have to call all the commands. I have to watch the altimeter. Is that what it's called? It's been 24 years since I did it, 25 years. And then you jump out, and then when it's time to pull the chute, they leave. And then I got somebody in my ear telling me which way to control my chute. I control the landing and all of that. I do what I would anyway. So I was in the very back of the plane. The first day it got too foggy. We had to come back the next day on Sunday. And I had some friends come out to watch and my kids and everything. And I knew in my mind, if I went up in that plane, I was not coming down in that plane, period. When I make a commitment, I follow it through. Even though my instructor who was sitting behind me didn't think I was going to get up and then kind of like I guess I hesitated because I'm actually afraid of heights, but I felt more secure doing that than I would bungee jumping because I had two chutes and each one of my instructors had two chutes. And when you're up that high, we're supposed to do 13,000 feet. We did 15,000 because we were in a different plane. When you look outside, it doesn't look real. So that part didn't bother me. But if I'm in a 17-story building, that bothers me. And when I was at the door, you say, check in, check out, or is check out, check in, one of those. And then you say something and you go. And I said it. He said, I didn't go. They pushed me. But I was not going to balk. I was going to do it. And it was so fun, totally worth it. But I would agree. Another person who did it with me said, I think I'd like to do tandem next time because you're so busy worrying about everything and pulling your chute and watching, doing all the moves right. Because when you look at something, you have to do this. So you don't flip around. That you don't get to enjoy it. I did get to enjoy it, and then the jerk off. I get motion sickness, and I was dumb and didn't take Dramamine back then. He had me go spin around a couple times, and I'm like, when I landed, I was so happy to be on the ground. I didn't do it. I did flare correctly. I just flopped, and then I grabbed my chute. You have to get your chute up, and then my instructor walked over, and I go, "That was a trip. I think I'm gonna be sick." And I made it all the way home before I got sick, and then I passed out for 3 hours because the adrenaline. Um, mm, Let me look. Not Ukraine. Oh, UK. I know. Freaking hate typing on my phone and getting autocorrect. I freaking hate that. Okay. I think I'm almost caught up. I would talk more on that with you, Diana, except for what the video is right now. So that's why I want you to email me. That's the thing about me is I'm a very conservative. She said, wow, I could not do that. That's the thing about me is I'm very conservative and level, but every few years before I got sick, I would have to do something crazy. So, I went in the army. I enlisted on my 17th birthday. I did a lot before age 21. A lot. And so then I was, an army wife for a while and everything was real stable. And then like my dad gave me his motorcycle when I was 26 or 27. And I taught myself how to ride. And I got a nose ring about that time, which was because I worked from home, so I could do. I used to do crazy nails. I can do my sculpt my own nails in acrylic and in polygel. I just haven't done it in a while. Okay, Diana. Yeah, definitely email me. Yeah, this was but then when I joined my church, I was all in. And what was funny, it's a very conservative church. And I'm riding around on my motorcycle with my nose ring. And I wore my nose ring for 2 years. Until we did a lesson on your body as a temple and you shouldn't pierce too much and you shouldn't have tattoos. I still don't have a tattoo. I never have. I'm so picky that I could never put something on I couldn't find anything that I thought was so great I wanted to put it on my body forever. So I did want to do a tattoo with my daughter when she got fibromyalgia too. And purple is like the chronic pain symbol, like for fibro. And then I wanted to do a phoenix on my foot that was going to match up to her foot, and the tail would go across my foot and onto her foot and into her phoenix. And we never got it done. I never found one I really, really liked, and I never went to the tattoo artist. So we still might do that. That I would do. I know. Um, yeah, I have got like 2 drawers full of nail stuff that I've accrued over the years. It's ridiculous. Just charms and crystals and stuff. And I used to have a whole tote of fingernail polish, and I don't know where it went. It disappeared. So I'm having to replenish all my. And it was old, but every like once a year I had nail polish thinner, and I would just fix them. Um. Oh, needles. I get like 10 injections from the base of my skull down my shoulder blade across my shoulders on each side, so 20 every 4 weeks with lidocaine to loosen up those muscles from fibro and my car accident. So matter of fact, that's coming up soon. I gotta get that done. I missed it, and I'm so tight now. So any questions you want to ask me, that'll be fine. Sets her GPS for Miss Kim. Yeah, that's the only thing about me doing my own nails is this hand would look great because I'm right-handed, and then this hand would look like not that great. So I had to stick with either stickers or like I have the brushes, like straight lines. I couldn't like draw anything. I'm not good at drawing. I do a lot of crafts. I have a craft room. I tried to start a craft business, but that's when I injured my discs. I actually have a website. that's just sitting there doing nothing. I'm still paying for just because I don't want to lose the domain name. So mainly I was making jewelry at that time. I sew like double pot holders, purses. I even did a couple of just a lot of, oh no, I do a lot of makeup bags. I like doing those. Maybe when I get, my craft room is horrendous since I haven't been in it. Once I get that cleaned up, I'll do a video because my husband made me a craft room when we became empty nesters. Um, so craft beer business, how about? um, I did it through Vistaprint. That's why it's costing me money. But the domain name I got for SPTV, you just go into Google. I forget exactly how I did it because it was like a year ago, more than a year ago. And I just went in and it was only $12. I couldn't get sptv.com. Another entity already had it because Aaron said that they like to buy up domain names and people's names that have escaped so they can put those hit websites out. And so I wanted to get something, and I'm not going to say what it was, but it was only $12 for the year. And then they had templates, but I didn't know how to do it. And I talked to Claire Headley 3 times. I sent her super chats, and she said, "Yeah, I'm interested. Email me." And I emailed, and I never got anything back. So then all that with the Aftermath Foundation happened. I'm going to do a video on that too for newcomers that don't know what happened and why. Or you can just go watch AA Ron's channel, and he tells you. He will tell you. But yeah, that's how I got the website. Now the one for my craft business, I've had it for years and I'm paying a monthly fee for it, but I have the .com of my craft name and I don't want to lose it. And then I'd gotten business cards and I'd gotten other things through them that matched my website. And you can go look at it. It's called Hillbilly Hippie Designs. There's a story behind why I'm called Hillbilly Hippie. My husband named me that. And it still says under construction. What it was, I couldn't get pictures uploaded. I had taken pictures of my jewelry. I was struggling, and I was supposed to call Vistaprint to figure it out, and then I injured my disc too, and it's just been sitting there for a long, 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 long time. But maybe someday I'll get that together because I have a lot of joy. I've given a lot of it away. I haven't made any money on my crafts. I've gave a lot away. Um, I'm trying to think where. Oh, that was on my Facebook. My daughter modeled my purses for me before and stuff, but I really never sold anything. Oh, and the reason I'm not wearing my earrings is about 3 years ago or so, I purposely let my ears close up because way back in the 80s, when you had to go to the mall to get your ears done, my very first set, that girl got them crooked. And so I had 3 holes on this ear where there should have only been 2 because I had 5 altogether eventually by my senior year, I think. And I had 3 on this side. And not only was it in the wrong place, but when you put the earring in, it didn't go straight back. You had to she did it like this way crooked. So I didn't know if it would work, but I've given it more than 3 years and they're great. They've healed great. There's no knots or anything. So I'm going to go to a professional, which is usually at a tattoo shop. Because the girl that did my nose, now, when you get hit in the nose, it makes your eyes water. Well, now you can get your nose done with a gun. She used a needle that started skinny and got thicker, and she was new. And this other girl, she went with me. She kind of dared me to do it, and I went first. And she's doing it slow. She's like slow, and I'm just finally it went numb on its own. My eyes are watering. It went numb, and then she was gonna try to back out of it. I said, "Oh no, you're not." And it's still there. It's really hard to close. Um, I'm gonna get back into that stuff. I'm trying to. I've got pink hair dye. I'm gonna go. I've been trying to get it light because I have very dark ash blonde. If I ever go gray, I'll never know because my hair is gray naturally. Um, so I'm trying to get it light without. I can't bleach. Oh, so I did a year of cosmetology school, my junior year of high school. I did half, and then on my 17th birthday, I joined the Army Reserves, and they had a little bit of college money, but come to find out, you had to be in the reserves to use it, and I just couldn't. I had um kids not long, right after high school, and then I got married, and then moved, and all. I never got, and I had an ROTC scholarship, but nobody sat me down. I had an academic scholarship to a small college that was in the middle of nowhere in Southern Ohio. And I'm like, okay, my academics are paid for, but how am I going to pay for my lodging when there's no town, there's nowhere to get a job, and it's a 2.5 hour commute from my house? So no school counselor sat down with me and explained that I could get financial aid because I came from a single mom on food stamps. So nobody in my family ever went to college. I didn't know any of that stuff. And so I ended up not going because I didn't know any of that. So that's kind of really bothers me. And then every time I tried to go to college after that, literally when I decided to go, something would happen. But okay. I used to make jewelry too, so fun, but the church didn't seem to like that. Said I was chasing butterflies. I know. Well, they don't want you to have any outside interests. We know that. AA. Yeah. I'd better not get your nose done with a fist. Yeah. I was punched in the nose when me and my stepbrothers were boxing with boxing gloves when I was young. But yeah, well, I didn't finish my cosmetology though. That's what I was getting at. So, because I joined the Army Reserves on my 17th birthday, the end of my junior year, my senior year, I dropped cosmetology school and I took all uh, college prep classes because I had never taken college prep classes because I never thought I would go to college. And yes, I was totally failed by my guidance counselor. Totally. They didn't do anything at that school. I just because they knew I got it the end of my junior year. We went and we as ROT because it was an ROTC academic scholarship. This school had a big ROTC, and at the end of my junior year, we went and they just on the spot. I didn't even know they were going to do it. They interviewed me and asked me about. I sat like in front of a panel and they asked me a bunch of questions, and then I find out they offered me the scholarship. So my whole senior year, I'm taking college prep classes. My teachers know why. I'm telling them why. And nobody explained. There was no way I could commute. There was no way I could afford lodging. And so I gave it up. So I would have loved college. I was a horrible student in school only because I didn't care. I did enough to pass. And my husband, same thing. So he was a year behind me, but we're the same age because in sixth grade, come to find in sixth grade, he got held back for math or something. But when he retired at age 41, he was diagnosed with ADD. They put him on ADD meds, and he was an AB student in college because he went to college for a year and a half. And he was an AB student. He did great. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I did what I was meant to do. So I'm all right. I was supposed to be an army wife, and that's okay. And my son he's using up so my son went in the military. We told him no army. He could go in the Navy, Coast Guard, or Air Force. So he went in the Navy for 4.5 years. He wanted it to be a career, but they were doing a drawdown and they wouldn't let him reenlist for that, his MOS. And they didn't offer him school for another MOS. So he's done 2 different schools that for 2 different things that we live in a very isolated area. He did HVAC first. He could not get a job in HVAC. He would have had to drive to Austin. And that's during the day, that can be in the morning, that can be a 2.5 hour to 3 hour commute. So he gave that up. And then he took medical assistant, and that place got closed down for embezzlement. He can't even get his transcript from there. So this school is 2 years. He's 36 now. He just started school in July, and he's trying to start a new career because he was in a dead end job that wouldn't pay him what they needed to pay him. He was an awesome worker for them. Matter of fact, he said when he took leave. When he came back, he was doing this job by himself. They had 12 people from inside coming out to do his job while he was gone. And they wouldn't pay him. He could barely afford rent. He couldn't even barely afford a car payment. We had to help with that. I remember the Marines recurring staff sergeant when I went to high school. Oh, yeah, in the U.S. Very convincing guy, but I wasn't allowed to join. Yeah, and I wish we would have went Navy. But even our Navy commander, who was retired Navy, told us to go Army Reserve because they had the better college deal at the time. And see, that was a $14,000 loan repayment. They didn't just give you the money. And I didn't know what that meant either. They didn't explain it to me. Oh, I have to watch out for fire ants in Texas. And oh my God, I hope I don't. I'm not near any. I've been lucky so far, but I think I'm sitting on a little cover for my wagon. So, that's okay, Diana. I've been here an hour. I think I should probably go. But this is just a chat about personal stuff. And like I said, it's a little bit more fun than just sitting in front of the camera at home. Every time I wanted to do it home, either my husband was awake or, it just didn't feel right at the time. And I didn't like it. Hey, Johnny. So anyway, I want to thank everybody that has been supporting me and giving me all the great comments in the chat. That's what helps those of us get out there and do this. And I would still do it even if absolutely nobody watched my channel 000, maybe not. But if I still had only 56 subscribers and 2 people in my chat, I would still go because half of that reason, well, no, I would still probably go because the biggest reason I'm there is to keep anybody from going inside because I'm sitting there with my sign that says Scientology is a cult and ask me why. So they do. 80% of them already know at least that Scientology is bad. What Scientology did not prepare for was social media and what I'm doing right now. All of us never-ends and survivors of the cult that have escaped having channels and talking about the crap that they're doing. See, they've lived in secrecy for 70 years, since the 50s. And they can't live in the shadows anymore. We won't let them. And I'm able to share that those inside can get out. And that people have gotten out. And the ones who have gotten out has said that somebody protesting and saying something to them, it was different for everybody, put a seed in their mind about, okay, maybe I might want to look into this. And they have even though they're probably not allowed, they're not allowed to have phones or internet access and stuff. They can probably somehow look at the internet, and they're gonna find us talking to them and everybody and telling them that they can get out, and seeing survivors who have escaped. Awesome. AA said the internet saved. Are you a her? Your icon is so small on my phone. Uh, I want to make sure I'm right. I never did ask. AA says, yep, that's what happened to me. I wasn't allowed to engage, but I took a mental note. Marco, can't say that. Oh my goodness. You guys have been great. I hope my friends and family get a chance to see this. I hope they might want to learn more about, why Scientology is evil. And I'm going to talk more on it. I may go ahead and record some videos from home. The weather this week, it was supposed to be stormy for 6 days, and it was off and on. It was hard for me to plan because, it's an hour and a half there, hour and a half home. I'm there a couple hours, 3, 4, 5. So in those 5 hours, like there would be an hour that would have like a thunderstorm, this big red symbol in Austin. And I'm like, my thing is, it's not the rain. I don't want to be standing on the sidewalk when there might be lightning. So that freaks me out. So it sucks. I haven't been out since I fell last Thursday. I don't think I've been out since then. Can't remember. And I'm okay with that. I have a bruise that won't go away, but it doesn't hurt. You can see that on my channel. I put last Thursday, I think it was, I put a timestamp. I had just handed my husband the gimbal, and I face planted flat because there was a curb you can't see there. And I haven't done it yet, but I'm gonna talk to the college because I can't be the only one, because it was camouflaged. It was this tall. It had gravel embedded in it. The sidewalk had gravel embedded in it, and the top layer was loose gravel. So you can't see it. It's camouflaged. And I cannot be the only person that has done that. Can you imagine students running through there with their backpacks and their books and, in a hurry? I know people have fallen, and they're lucky I'm not permanently hurt, or they'd be getting a lawsuit. And that's what I'm going to tell them. I go, if you guys don't want a lawsuit, you better paint that curb. Paint it white, at least. That should be your next sign. I can't do that, Marco. Uh, you're silly. I appreciate y'all. Let's see. What's today? Friday. I don't know if I'm gonna get out tomorrow. I'll have to check the weather. I think I'm gonna do another late night stream tomorrow night. That was fun, and I'm a night owl. I tried to do it last Friday night, and nobody showed up because it was Friday night. I just think there was more other channels probably doing stuff like that. And then my Dianetics at 3, which I missed this last Sunday because I thought it was Monday. I even called uh the vet's office or the doctor's office. I called some office, and I was wondering why they were the machine was on. I think it was my doctor's office. And then about 5 o'clock, I got the notice that Dusty was going on with the subscribe-a-thon. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Sunday. So after that, I went on real fast and did a quick Dianetics, because that book is too long and that chapter is too long to skip a week. So if you didn't get to see that one this last Sunday, it's there if you want to go watch it. It's still getting kind of interesting. And I'm going to talk this next time about how Nora did talk about some things that we read in Dianetics in one of her streams, and I'm going to link that about trauma and things like that. Why can't I do that? I'd love to see the faces of the Scientology staff if you that sign in front of them. I would do that around my town, because military town, man, they don't care. But I'm different when I'm in public. So that would be funny. But next week, I'm gonna get back on schedule. I don't even care if there is weather. I'll take an umbrella because I hate missing. I feel antsy. I worry about people going in that door. I feel like I like that they close up when I get there. And I don't want even the people inside to think that I don't have the conviction to keep coming. The fact that we keep coming is unusual. The protests before with Anonymous, they would plan it well in advance and everybody they'd have 200 people, but like in California, but it would be scheduled a one day event. They're not used to what we're doing now. And that's every single day somebody somewhere is at an org protesting, and that's something they haven't dealt with before, and they're not doing very well. They're not dealing with it very well. The fight still rages on. So I took my week off after I face planted, and that's why I'm not wearing my purple glasses. They're ruined. It was funny. I thought it was funny afterwards because my husband was like, I got that on camera, and he just clipped that little part where I fell. And he sent it to my kids with no context because he's a joker. He did that on purpose. And my son called me that night and he goes, for 10 seconds, I thought you were dead because you didn't move. I didn't move. I landed on my face. I can't believe my face isn't black and blue, but I think this lens on my is all scratched up on my glasses. That saved my face. I've got a bruise around this area that's really bad. And then I was just sore. I didn't Thank God, didn't do any permanent damage because as messed up as I am between whiplash, injured discs, fibromyalgia, that could have been bad. I think because I didn't have a chance to try to save myself, probably acted to my benefit. And I think the reason my whole entire body hurt, literally, is because when I fell completely flat, it kind of went wing, 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 through my whole body. I think if I'd have, oh God, I shouldn't have been sitting here. Oh, this is not a good. I can feel it. I gotta go, guys. So, let's see. They would be dealing with it perfectly if LRH would have given them a guide how to deal with the internet. Yeah, but he passed away in 1986, so he didn't know what the internet is. So they're confused, which is good for us. But even so, I think we got there for a little while, with all the arrests and everything. It was kind of bringing us down a little, but they're winning in court. They haven't gotten to the judicial system yet. They can use their LAPD and their Chicago PD all they want, but when those stupid charges get to the DA, they're like, this is stupid. Yes, people have spent days and days and days in jail, and that's horrible. But none of those people they've arrested have quit. So Scientology likes to shoot themselves in the foot, and we'll let them every day. So I'll see you guys this weekend. Do a couple more live streams, and then starting next week, I'm gonna be back at the org, letting them know they can get out. So let me make sure. So y'all have a good day. See you next week.